Good evening and welcome to our show, Women to Women. I'm Carol Paz, your hostess for tonight, and I'm going to introduce you to a very special young lady in just a few moments. But before I do that, I'd like to thank our sponsors for this first half. I'd like to thank Carpa Nevada LLC, importer of fine Portuguese olive oils, aged balsamic vinegar, and international health teas, as well as Vila Basque Deli Cafe, home of Pete's famous Basque delicious chorizo, right here in Carson City. So let's turn to Leslie Wilkerson, who's with us. And Leslie, I'd like to welcome you warmly to our show.
Thank you.
You are most welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Leslie, before I start, you are a very special young woman. And Leslie has a very special program for us tonight. She is, she's a survivor. She's come through a unique program. And I know that many young women, young girls even, who are in high school, who may be in college, who may be mothers, who may be becoming mothers, have sometimes gone through this type of a situation. It's not that unusual. We would like to think it was. But Leslie, before I share your story, can you just tell us where you're from originally?
Boise, Idaho.
Boise, Idaho. Okay. That's a long ways away from Carson City, but that's another detail we'll add in later. So you grew up in Boise, and did you grow up in a large family, small family?
Small family.
Okay, and when you say small, what do you mean?
Me, my mother, my father, my sister, and...
Okay. And were you? Did you also go to school in Boise?
No, I did not.
No. You left that territory when you were about how old?
When I was 3.
Oh, 3, okay. So you really don't have too much of a memory of that?
No.
All right. And when you were 3, was your father, what kind of work did he do?
Basically, shipping and receiving.
Okay. For a private company, not in the military?
Yeah, private company.
Private company. So when you moved out of Boise, where did your father take the family?
Campbell, California.
All right. And was most of your early childhood then spent in Campbell?
Yes.
Okay. And what was California like at the time that you were living there?
Warm, sunny.
Okay. Did that have a lot to do with the friends that you met and or perhaps even the jobs that you took as a teenager?
Yes.
Okay. Were you on the beach a lot?
Oh, yeah.
You have beautiful skin. That's why I was wondering. No damage there yet. So when you had friends, Leslie, and I'm getting specific with friends because I think they have a lot to do with what decisions we tend to make. Sometimes we walk away from parental advice and into the advice of our friendships. Was that at all true? It was for me in some cases. Was it true for you?
No.
No. So you paid very close attention to what your parents thought, what they said?
Yes.
All righty. Did you graduate from high school in Campbell?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you graduate from some other place?
Yes, I did.
Okay, where's that?
WNC.
All right. So what was your background at WNC?
Got my GED.
All righty. And then after your GED, I have to give you a lot of credit for that because as a teacher, as a high school teacher for many years and a college instructor later, I had students that would come up and ask me, do I really need a GED? Do you?
Yes, you do.
Why?
A lot of jobs won't take you on unless you don't have a high school diploma or a GED.
All right. And what was the incentive for you? Was it just the job possibilities, or was there something else that drove you towards finishing that degree?
It drove me to finish that degree to have that behind me so my kids will learn from it. And
you're in a very special situation, Leslie, in that you are a mother.
Yes.
You have how many children?
I have 3.
Okay. And do they ever ask you questions about your growing up time?
Yes.
All right. And how old is your oldest child?
She's 11.
Okay. So she's at the inquisitive age.
Yes.
And what kinds of things do you share with her now about education or about job possibilities or about what her interests are? How do you encourage her to really stay in education?
I teach her a lot, and I keep her ahead in the game for school reasons, and she wants to go off to college, and I have to keep encouraging her to go to school and be on top of it.
Good for you. And the very fact that she's even heard the name college is significant.
Yes.
Okay, because I represent probably 2 generations beyond you. And you are up and coming. You're a young mother. You've had some very unique experiences that you're about to share with us, but at the same time, you have had to make some very important decisions for yourself, because you didn't finish high school, perhaps with your other friends back then, but you made the decision to go ahead and finish the GED, get it.
Yes.
And now you have background to fill in for your children.
Yes.
And the significance of that. All right, Leslie, when did things start to kind of go south, to spiral downward for you?
Back in 2009.
And what happened?
I was married at the time.
Okay.
And my husband was in the military.
All right.
And he got back from Afghanistan, and he was just completely a different person.
All right. Now we're hearing this on the news. We are bathed in a lot of the situations that men and women come home from after being in the military for a while. And in those particular areas of the Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, and we, back here we're asking ourselves, what could have been so shocking, so mentally and emotionally shocking that it changes the person that we married, that we thought we knew, and we know that they have gone through terrible traumas.
Yes.
So the man that you married, how was he?
Sweet, kind, thoughtful.
And when he returned, after how many years had he been away?
A full year.
Okay, 1 full year, and he came back a totally different person.
Yes.
How do you mean?
He was angry. Everything startled him. The kids were getting on his nerves.
Okay, and when that sense of being startled, we can, even though we've not been there, their training has been so intense. Any noises, especially if they're on, they're watching out for each other. They're literally on guard duty 24/7, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
All right. Did he share the anxieties that he had in him? Did he let you know that he was being bothered?
No.
No, he kept it all inside.
Yes.
He didn't even have buddies that he came back with or that he could relate to in terms of other veterans?
He did. He wanted them for all his problems and anxiety problems.
Because there was a relationship,
Yeah.
almost mentally and emotionally there.
Yes.
From the start. Okay. Did you have children at the time? Well, of course you did in 2009, okay? So how did you and the children cope?
We started going to counseling.
Okay. And that's a very healthy first step.
Yes.
All right. The counseling, does it come from the military? Does it come from outside of the military?
No.
Where does the counseling come from?
We took it upon ourselves to get a private counselor.
All right.
So
and
that the military wouldn't find out.
All righty. So at that time in 2009, was the military, in your opinion, taking much notice of these traumatic stress problems that the men were bringing back and the women were bringing back? Was there a notification to the military, hey, I don't know what's going on here, but something has really changed?
No.
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 Did you feel lost?
I did.
Did you feel alone?
I did.
Could you reach out to other military wives?
No.
And why was that, do you think?
Because they thought I was crazy and I should be supporting him 100% of the time through everything. Mm-hmm. And if he hit me, he hit me. And
that was to be expected, in other words.
Yes.
Ooh, ouch. Okay. How long did you go for counseling with your husband?
For 2 months.
All righty. And did things seem to be getting a little bit better, more understanding, or was there, probably the wrong word is resistance on his part to it. Maybe he couldn't identify with the counseling. But was a private counselor, do you think, looking back, a good choice rather than a military counselor?
No.
All right.
I think a military counselor would have been better.
All right, because they would have more contact with this type of a problem.
Yes.
All right, so help us, bring us forward. After the 2 months, then what happened?
He lost it one night and he went off on me.
Meaning?
Meaning he threw me down to the ground. And
You were outside or inside the house?
inside the house.
All right.
And he put a gun to my head.
Ooh, ooh.
Cocked and ready to go. He asked me if I wanted to be treated like Haji.
And Haji is the Middle Eastern word for a leader, usually a religious leader, okay?
Yes.
But it's actually a term of respect. They make the Hajj, the trip to Saudi Arabia, but Haji is one who has made that. It's out of respect for that journey. All right. Did you know what he meant?
By killing me?
When he said, "You want me to treat you like Haji," you sensed that he meant they kill Hajis.
Yes.
Okay, they're the enemy.
Yes.
Did you think at the time, Leslie, that he was partially with you as a family and partially back in Afghanistan? Or did you feel that he was completely out of your world?
Completely out of my world.
All right, lying there on the floor with a gun to your head, do you remember the first reaction that you had or the first thought that went through your head?
That I was going to die?
Okay, and possibly the children.
Yes.
How did you come out of that situation that night? What happened?
I'm not exactly sure what happened.
Okay.
Next thing I know, I grabbed the kids and left, and I went down to my mother's house, and that's where we stayed.
All right, so you must have had the opportunity, or he gave you the opportunity to get up.
Yes.
Sometimes, and I have no idea what it's like to be living with post-traumatic stress. We know that in bad dreams, we come in and we go out of them. And sometimes in the bad dreams, bad things happen. And other times, by some moment of freedom, we take it. And the enemy, the person that we are afraid of or that's chasing us or doing this to us, doesn't react, lets us go. Perhaps that's what happened. I don't know. But to let you and the children go out of the house was a very important decision or emotional response that he allowed you to have.
Yes.
Yes. It saved your life, perhaps.
Yes.
Okay. So after you arrived at your mother's home, and you stayed there for how long?
I stayed there for 3 months.
Okay. And during those 3 months, was there any communication between you and your husband?
No.
How did you handle that with the children?
My mom and my father handled it with him.
Okay, so they kind of kept you at bay.
Yes.
You stopped the counseling, of course, with him.
Yes.
All right. Leslie, those of us who are out there in the listening audience, and even myself right here, I've not been in that situation. I've been in a situation where I was afraid. I was being stalked. I was being stalked in the Middle East, in a culture that was not my own, and it was after the overthrow of the Shah. Okay. So there was violence that I had never known before, and violence from individuals that I had never thought could come to that point. But we're now realizing that in this country, with post-traumatic stress syndrome, it's very real, and it has to be treated, and it's difficult for so many people, and perhaps the veteran, the returning military man or woman, most of all. Did you ever wonder whether your husband knew that he had changed?
I did. I still wonder that today.
All right. How long has it been since you've seen or heard from your husband?
3 years.
Okay. And you've not seen him in all that time?
No.
All right. You know, Leslie, when we come back in the second half, I'd like to have you share with us, to the extent that you're comfortable, how did you come out of this? How did the children come out of this? And it's painful. It has to be painful because it's like a rejection in sort, isn't it? That you can't get through to that personality that you once knew, that you once loved very much. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Are you ready?
Football is back, and it's your turn to score with Carson Nuggets Touchdown to Cash drawings, where you can win up to $50,000. Come down every Friday and Saturday for your chance to win big.
Hi, I'm Stephen Lincoln with CarsonCityHomes.com, Carson City's original online real estate resource.
At CarsonCityHomes.com, you get effective and easy-to-use tools to help you select your next home today. With our easy-to-use website, you can search listings throughout Northern Nevada and narrow the results by selecting every facet, quirk, and quality you desire. Visit CarsonCityHomes.com.
Apex SCF provides cutting-edge, hands-on training that effectively addresses today's threats of violence.
The Apex Stay Alive course teaches proven methods for personal protection and attack countermeasures that can be applied in any environment. In your home, at the workplace, or on campus, Apex will teach you the necessary skills to stay alive, including how to recognize and react to an active shooter scenario.
If you knew you had to fight for your life tomorrow, would you train today? Contact us now to sign up for a class in your region.
In business for over 5 years, Play Your Own Music offers music lessons from the best quality music instructors in the area. We also offer band instrument rentals, guitar repair, and we have a recording studio on site. Call us at 885-PLAY.
How was school today?
Cool, we learned what to do in case there's an emergency.
Oh, will you show me?
If there is an earthquake, then you get under your desk, duck, cover, and hold. And when the shaking stops,
we evacuate the school just like a fire drill.
I'm glad you both know what to do in case of an emergency, but I'd still be worried.
Check the phone, radio, or TV, and they'll tell you what to do.
Make a plan.
Assemble a kit.
Stay informed.
And be ready.
Are you looking for a healthier lifestyle? A more nutritious diet? Do you care about quality? If your answer is yes, or if you are just curious, come into Villa Basque Deli and Cafe right here in Carson City, Nevada. Discover fine Portuguese extra virgin olive oils, vintage balsamic vinegars, and a wide assortment of international health teas provided by distributor Carpa Nevada LLC. In addition to these terrific items, Villa Basque is also the home of Pete's famous Basque chorizo, handmade on the premises from Pete's secret family recipe. Satisfy your culinary curiosities. Don't delay.
Join us at the Carson Nugget for The Prize is Right, our 3 million point swipe and win giveaway happening every Sunday through Thursday. You can win up to 100,000 points instantly at our kiosk, and all you have to do is swipe. Only at the Carson Nugget.
Welcome back to the second half of our show, Women to Women. We're with Leslie Wilkerson, who has a very poignant story in so many ways. And we're going to return to Leslie in just a few moments. But first, I'd like to thank carsonnow.org for the second half of this program. If you have any questions about what's happening in Carson City, go to carsonnow.org. It covers all activities 24/7. All right, Leslie, again, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Leslie, to come out of such an emotional and whole person stress, but dealing with post-traumatic stress from a husband or from a wife is something that affects the entire family, of course. And there's so many aspects to healing, to dealing with this. And I remember growing up during the, or being in college during the Vietnam era, we had men and women returning from a foreign country where all kinds of weaponry was used that had not been used before. And it was traumatic. No other word for it. So, Leslie, what did you decide to do to help restart a life again, your life and the lives of your children, separate from your husband, who's going to have to be really helped in such a big way by the military?
I went down to the court system and got a restraining order on him. I talked to the advocates up there, and they really suggested me getting in contact with the domestic advocates shelter, and it would really help me out. And
now, is that here in Carson City?
yes, that's here in Carson City.
All right. So let me just backtrack for a second. During the time that your husband was in Afghanistan, were you living here in Carson City?
Yes, I was.
All right. So he was coming back to a familiar environment.
Yes.
All right. So when you went to the courts and you got the restraining order, did he abide by that?
Yes, he did.
Good. Good. And once you had the restraining order in place and you started with a domestic violence program.
Yes.
All right. What's that like? What do they do?
They take down all your information, what you've been through, and to see if you've actually are required to be a part of the program.
Okay, and from your information, they determined that
I was high risk.
At high risk, all right.
Yes.
What do they do for high risk people?
They put you in the shelter.
All right. With your children?
With my children.
Now that was a new experience for them.
Yes, it was.
Okay. How did they adjust?
They were scared at first.
All right.
And I took them to the counseling that they have every Thursday.
For children?
For children.
Wonderful.
And they started understanding what I was going through and how to cope with me. And they got to talk about their problems and what they were going through.
And there's a natural love of children for their mother.
Yes.
And there is for their father as well. But in this situation, you were there together.
Yes.
And learned how to work through things together with the help of a lot of other people.
Yes.
And that's a tremendous support system.
Yes, it is.
Leslie, let me ask you a question. Did the children come away from this experience with fears of adults?
No.
Wonderful. Did you come through the experience with any fear of men?
A little bit.
Okay. And that would be a natural hesitancy, I would think, as a female.
Yes.
I would want to know from the outside world, with the help of some counseling and some good, solid advice in the area. Carol, these are places that we think you should not go. Or these are places, Carol, that is okay. Chances are you'll be fine. Did anything like that ever occur in the counseling? Or were you just free to go wherever you wanted to?
We were free to go wherever we wanted to.
Where did you choose to go?
Upward.
Upward, okay. Upward. And that means what, Leslie? Does that mean taking risks or taking chances based on common sense or just based on adventure?
Based on common sense.
Okay. And when you say common sense, what kind of decisions did you make where to go?
To start a new job, start building up my confidence and talking to people.
Okay. Trusting again. Must be
yes.
It's a big issue, right?
Yes.
Was it easier, or is it still easier to trust women than men?
Yes, it is.
All right. So is it fair to say there are still some scars that you're working with?
Yes, there are.
All right. You're a very attractive woman in many ways. Do you go out? Do your children want you to have adult male presence in your life? Do they receive a guest or a visitor or someone who is interested in getting to know you, taking you out? Are they receptive to that yet?
No, they're not.
Okay. Is that protection for their mom?
Yes, it is.
All right. Good for them. Good for them. You know, kids have a very honest way about assessing adults.
Yes.
They're usually the first ones to know. My students were always the first ones to know if I was legit or not, if I was going to be a problem teacher or not. I said, I'm going to be fair, but there are ground rules here, okay? So have you ventured out on a date? Have you gone out with some male friends and female friends? You usually keep it in a group.
Yes.
All right. And that's common sense.
Oh, yeah.
That's very good. So how did you started a brand new job?
Started a brand new job.
And has that worked out and been good for you the way you hoped?
Yes.
Okay. What are some of those good things that are happening to you again?
I started my job over a year ago.
All right.
2 months after being there, I got promoted.
Excellent.
To keynote supervisor.
Okay, so you're working in a casino.
Yes.
Now, high-risk territory or not?
No.
Okay. See, the general public would think, ooh, Leslie, let me get you out of there. But you say no. Why no? Why is it a good environment for you to kind of come back into life again?
I love the customers.
What makes them special?
They're an older crowd, and they understand, and they just bring light to my life.
You know what? That makes me feel so good. I'm 70. Okay. And so it makes me feel that the generations are good for one another when there's solidness and there is, when I say there's a framework around our lives that, you know, has to be expanded from time to time, but then brought back in. There's a sense of respect for that formation, sense of respect for other people and what they've been through. And sometimes with, I gotta say it, sometimes with your generation and the younger generation, there's kind of a nonchalant attitude through what you've been through.
Yes.
It didn't happen to them, so it doesn't matter. Now, that's not everybody, that's for sure. I know some really wonderful young people. In fact, they work for this show. But there are others out there who seem to be oblivious to traumas of any kind. They've kind of inoculated themselves against it. What, if you, let's put you down the road, 20, 25 years, and your children are now grown up, young adults of their own, married, with families, and if they came to you and they said, Mom, I'm having some issues here with a marriage, or I'm having some issues, Mom, with the kids. I'm having some issues with self-confidence about myself. How would you, they want their mom to talk to them.
Yes.
What would you say to them?
I would give them advice. I wouldn't exactly tell them how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they need to learn on their own and figure things out on their own, and let them know what I went through and how I came out of it.
Okay, so your own story is going to have a very important part, not only now, but as they grow up and can understand more as they become adults.
Yes.
And I think what you're saying, Leslie, in sharing what you have been through when you feel they are ready or they're asking to know, rather than shoving it right at them before they can really process it. And they're still healing themselves.
Yes.
Okay. What goals have you set for yourself out there?
Attending college.
Oh, good for you.
Getting my degree.
Excellent. So you're working to help pay for that degree?
Yes.
Good girl. What are your interests?
Photography.
Really?
Yes.
I would never have thought that. I would thought maybe she might like to be a nurse. Maybe she might like to be, you have that artful look about yourself. But a photographer, well, that's art of a sort too. What kind of subjects are you interested in photography?
Modeling.
Oh.
Runway.
You would like to be a model, or you'd like to photograph models?
Photograph models.
What brings you to that?
When I was younger, I was in the process of being a model.
That's a tough world.
Yes. But I've seen behind the scenes and the cameramen taking pictures.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
It's a competitive field, but certainly an artistic field. And depending on the subjects that you choose, the models that you choose, what they're doing, where they are at, the scenery behind them can be quite exciting, I would imagine. Well, you know what? We wish you the very best.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. It takes a lot of courage, Leslie, to share what you've shared, and we thank you because you are making a difference. You're definitely making a difference.
Thank you.
Okay. So I want to say thank you to our listening audience. We'll be back again next week with a very special young woman. In the meantime, take care. Have a safe evening. Good night.